Hello and welcome to the farewell Porsche race. We are a bit late on stream, but it doesn't matter. We have got 15 Porsches on the grid, 991.2s for our last race in ranked, and we go racing here on the Norisring. And I don't know how I managed to get the done so fast. However, we approach turn 1. David Kulas and Sebastian Reh in the front in the two green Porsches. Gets a little bit close behind, but seems like there's not a lot of contact there. I just need to correct that statement because Christian Fromage seems to have been held up a bit. And Yuval Rosen, who started from the very back, already up into P10. He did not set a qualifying lap, just for the heck of it. And now we go racing, and I don't know why my screen disappeared here. And Sebastian Reh is going for the lead here. Kulas and Sebastian Reh both very established in the racing community. Sebastian Rossi, yeah. Oh, and we have got a spin, one of the FAF Porsches, Room Rider. Can continue, doesn't seem to have a lot of damage. Should be fine. And now David Kulas trying to regain the lead. Misbreaks a bit, but Sebastian Reh goes wide, and there's a bit of a cordon effect. Everyone gets into the back of each other, it just happens at Norisring. Totally normal. And Yuval Rosen making moves now for P8 against SanDisk. Side by side through the chicane. Oh, and Prigi is Gaspar miss, spun out of turn 4. Same goes for Marco Prigi. They seem to have been in a collision with each other. And a lot of stuff happening. Ricardo Rebello being passed by Zang Alive. On the inside. There's also the other SSR Performance Porsche of Schmidt. Zang Alive up into P7. Oh, and we've got something that has happened, and it's Oriol Balmana, Yuri Loki, who spun in the chicane. A lot of spins, and just keeps it stationary with cars going past right, left, and center. And also John Janchik spun out. Lost control by his own. And Yuval Rosen up into P5. So, this race, and with Janchik around again, Prigi trying to get past Gaspar on the inside. Prigi braking very late, understeering into the turn, can get it stopped in time, but won't be able to complete the move. Gaspar also being held up by Reiter in front of him a bit, so he couldn't maximize the exit. But seems like things have settled down a bit. Sebastian Reh is still in the lead of the race in front of David Kulas. And Sebastian Rossi qualified P3, still in P3, so he was able to hold position in the Fricadeli Porsche. Just a very nice sight. And he's actually able to run with the leaders at the moment. Of course, in Norisring with the slipstream, it's also a big help, but still very remarkable. Bit slidey though, especially on the rear. And Prigi just got past both Reiter and Misch. Oh, but no, very wide, loses the rear end of the car. Porsche by nature, or the 991.2 especially by nature, an understeery car. However, if you throw it into the turn, the rear engine caused the rear end to get loose, and now Gaspar Misch pretty drifts out of turn 5. And that means Misch now into P10. However, this is the last time we see the 991.2 think one of the most iconic Porsches, especially from the 911 series. Race in ranked, because after that it will be 992 only. Meanwhile, Yuval Rosen going for a move into P4, going past Machina with a better exit to pick a switch back move, but they are still side by side, and Yuval Rosen on the outside, which can be very helpful, but not quite alongside yet. However, the 991.2 won't be in the selection of cars for the coming ranked races from now on, because the 992, which just recently dropped, will take his place or its place instead, and has also some good reasons like BOP stuff, and also obviously wanting to sell the 992. And something happened in front, and John Schick is our first DNF. Meanwhile, the gap has grown at the front, nearly 1 second between rear and coolers, and another 1.3 seconds to Rossi, who is being catched by Yuval Rosen, who in 6 minutes... Oh, we have a spin somewhere. Can't really tell what it was. Just said we have a side-by-side between Reiter and Mish now. Down into turn 1, Mish on the outside. Braking a bit later. Can't quite squeeze Reiter to the apex, but can get the better exit. Reiter pulling to the inside. But seems like Reiter is in front. And Yuval already on the back bumper of Rossi. You can see it. Rosen again on the outside. Braking very late, but trying to go for the better exit. But I think the first part of the back stretch is a bit too short for this to work. And we're further back, we have a 3-car train. Oh, and nearly 3 right into turn 1. Mish trying to go for the up and under, but beautifully blocked by Reiter. Prigi just looking for a gap in this fight, waiting for something to happen. And we are only 8 minutes into the race. But this sure looks like an entertaining group. Mish now has to defend from Prigi. And will be a 3-car train once again. Mish with slipstream, Prigi without at the moment. Reiter obviously also wants to lose that train of slipstream. Same game as last time, but this time Mish has the way better exit. Reiter just understeered at the exit of the turn, which doesn't help at Norisring. Doesn't help anywhere, but especially not this Norisring turn 1. Now Gaspar going very wide though. This opens the door for Prigi. Little side-by-side contact. This allows Reiter to get a bit of breathing space, and Prigi is already passed. That doesn't mean anything now. Gaspar trying to get a maximized exit here. Drifts out of the turn, doesn't happen, but also Reiter and Prigi side by side. Gaspar Miss can easily now get the toe of the cars in front. Side by side into turn 1 again. Oh, and Prigi loses on the throttle, and also Reiter. Pretty stationary. Reiter also lost out on that. Just lost it on the curb, it seemed like. Meanwhile, we have the 2 SSR Performance Porsches fighting it out for P7. Schmidt on the inside against Zangerleif on the outside. Seems like Schmidt has done it, but Zangerleif is trying to get this position back. And Prigi also unfortunately retired from this race. Very sad to see. Oh, but now Schmidt overshot the turn. Zanglife does the up and under and up into P7 yet again. Oh, and we have a 3-car fight out of the sudden. Yuval Rosen was getting close to David Kulas. Must have been a mistake for... Oh, in contact between Yuval and David. Opens the door for Sebastiano Rossi, who just hanged in on Yuval and now is in striking distance again. Pretty sure he will be trying to just go with Yuval on this one. Gives him a little bump. Nothing he really could do there. But Yuval looking all over the back of David Kulas to get past and now breaking into the chicane. Got the job done. David's exit is a bit compromised, also loses the rear end a bit. Can Sebastiano Rossi do something now, or can David Kulas strike back on Yuval Rosen? Sebastiano on the inside. Pinned down to the inside by David. Oh, and David loses the rear end on the throttle, was too eager. Hits the wall with the rear end. Let's hope there's no engine damage to the car, as the car is very volatile on that sort of impact. Drops him down to P5. Car behind is Riccardo Rebello. Let's see. But that now means Yuval Rosen up into P2, Sebastian Rossi up into P3. Sebastian Rossi has a 4-second gap. Yuval and Sebastian Rossi both very fast. I think it's pretty similar on pace. But it's also nearly 15 minutes to go. So there's still a lot of time to catch cars up. NHS performance Porsche still going at it. And the fight around Gaspar Misch is still ongoing. He's now in between the two Pfaff Porsches of Reiter and Balmana, who after his spin in the chicane also made up a lot of time. Is now right in the slipstream of Gaspar. Outside line for him. Can't quite do it here. Oh, and the two side-by-side contact in the chicane can be very nasty. Both maneuvered very well, but still. Zanglife trying to go for the undercut. Just trying to get a 141. In the slipstream now. Should be able to get alongside, and he does so now with the slightly right-hand king before the turn. Does one of them go deep? No, they both get it stopped perfectly. But no chance for Zanglife to go past Schmidt. Oh, now Gaspar Misch very close to Reiter, and there's contact. Gaspar Misch took out Ruben Reiter, who's now in the exit roads of the last turn. Let's hope there's no big damage to the car. Seems like there was front end impact. Seems like it's going straight still, but I don't know. Might also be a bit of moving under braking. I couldn't really see in that moment, but that's a coincidence, let's say. But yeah, that helps Oriol Balmana, who's now in chip 11. And you were Rosen 3.6 seconds. It jumps around a bit, it's not super accurate, but slowly closing the gap to Sebastian Reh up in front. Yeah, you were starting from the back. Did the last to first, or in the first turn he already overtook 5 cars, but still very remarkable. Oh, and we have the situation, and it's David Kulas in the last turn. Was there contact? No, not with another car. Lost control, was in a collision. And he's come out right in between the two SSR performance Porsches. I'm saying that word a lot because there were 3 of them in this race and 2 of them are fighting very hard all the time. Oh, and that's interesting. Kickoff oversteer in turn 6. However, David Kulas now trying to get back P6. Going wide does work, but not quite. Schmidt blocked him out there a bit. And Kulas has to watch out not to squeeze Zangenlife off the turn. Gives a little nudge to Schmidt. Can already see Kulas is a bit faster, but it's one thing to get close, it's the other thing to get past. Should try some now. On the outside with that overshoot would be a nice move. Still side by side. Oh, and Schmidt overshot the turn. Kulas still got past somewhat, even though he was shoved away a bit by that, but oh, and David misbraking, but still gets back. There was still enough space for Zangenlife on the outside and Kulas on the inside. I thought that could end in the collision. And now they're still all 3 very tightly together. That's Schmidt on the inside. I think there was a little rear end contact. And the 2 SSR Porsches blocking out Kulas, one on the inside, one on the outside. And it's a green Porsche train. And it's the SSR Monster sandwich, yeah, that's correct. And welcome Colin to the stream as well. And Kulas on the outside, can he make it? Didn't touch the wall. So Kulas being very aggressive, but just can't really find his way back. Schmidt and Zangenlife always find a way to fight back and counter attack, basically. Oh, and he does the same thing as Gaspar. Oh, and it wiped out both Porsches. That was... It was a slight contact on the rear left of... I think it was Zangenlife, and that sent him into the inside barrier, and Schmidt couldn't do nothing there, if it was Schmidt. Yeah, I don't... It looked like the SSR Porsche moved over quite a bit, and Zangenlife into the pits with probably too much damage to continue like that. But it's hard to tell. Gotta rewatch it to know, but maybe he did get inspired by Gaspar, I don't know. But I wouldn't say so. Was Schmidt who got into the barrier. You can see by the front of the car. Might have helped him because that means there shouldn't be too much suspension damage. Meanwhile, Zangenlife was hit on the rear left of the car, which easily causes suspension damage, which make the car undrivable. And we are only 20 minutes into the race. We still got 2 times that distance to cover. And I still haven't finished explaining what this event is about. So we will do it from the start again, because the only fight I can currently see is between those two, Josh Famish and Chad LaRousse, who made his way up into P8. That's started P12. That's also pretty good. Owen Schmidt going very wide in the last turn. Interesting. And Mish past LaRousse going down the inside. However, trying to explain now for the third, fourth, fifth time what this event is about, because I didn't have time in quali, because we didn't stream quali. And yeah, this is the last time we see the Porsche 991.2 in ranked racing, because its younger brother, the 992, will take on from now. Has a few reasons with BOPs for events and all that stuff. Obviously also to sell a new car. Who would have guessed? But to give it one last shout out, in Zangelaf again in the pits, so do I have to? I don't know. Yeah, we raced this car on Norisring, which is a very cool track. Can only recommend it. And just have a blast with it, and so far the race is pretty much great to watch and yeah, fun to commentate on, so pretty much does exactly what it's supposed to do. The 991.2 obviously being a car that's well beloved by many people. I think for me personally it's one of Porsche's best looking cars ever, and also driving wise something I really like. So if I didn't drive the R8 I'd probably choose the 911. So that's a good reason to have such event. I mean, there are also other few cars which basically were replaced by newer counterparts, but yeah, usually they were not as popular as the Porsches. And also it held on for a very long time. It was introduced in 2018, which is now 5 years ago. I think the M6 came a little later and stuff. R8 Evo also came in 2021, so not that long ago, relatively speaking. So of course this car racked up a lot of memorable moments and a lot of people connecting to certain cars. I think some of the best examples are the Manthey Porsche, not in this livery, but Manthey in general. SSR Performance also got its share of fans. In the meantime, FAF Motorsport, super popular, especially in the American series inside. But you also have Fricadeli, of course, the car that Sabine Schmitz also drove. And I mean, everybody in Europe knows who has to do with racing. So that is also very iconic. We've also got so many cars we don't have in this race because there are too many liveries for people to pick. We've got the Falcon cars, the Rover cars. We have other race winning and championship winning cars from completely different categories. For example, Pre-Code, Herbert Motorsport. It's also a big name in a few racing series. You know, Sebastian Reh lapping, I think it's alive. Indeed it is. Oh, and Gaspar Misch down the inside of Schmidt, up into P7. Schmidt probably still suffering of that damage of that crash, I think. The aero damage will impact his performance quite a bit on this track, especially in the chicane, which you need to get a good exit of. So let's see where he can at least recover during this wave. And you were still about 4 seconds off Sebastian Reh. Somebody went into the pits. Ronald Schmidt, yeah, probably repairing that aero damage. The Porsche is pretty understeery. And having aero damage on the front doesn't really help. Oh, and that's Zange Life who really overshot the turn. If we would have hit Ray, that would have been a bit not good. But he didn't, so good. And about the car itself, I mean, it's your typical Porsche. It has a flat 6 4-liter in this case. Has about 570 horsepower, normal just 3 numbers. Pretty light with 1,345 kilograms. So pretty much what you expect from a Porsche. Rear engine, of course. And I'm just being told by my spotter on the track that Yuva has damage. And that's very interesting. I'm not sure where you could have picked that up or what kind of damage it is, but the insider program has spoken. I mean, optically it seems fine. Oh, but there's wheel offset a bit, it seems like. Or does it just look like it's a bit tricky to see from that angle, especially because of the safety net? It's braked a bit, but okay. But if so, it looks like it would be damaged on the front of the car, front axle. Maybe my insider program can give us a bit more info on that. But thanks for notifying me. To the mysterious spotter. The gap is still all about the same. Also, traffic will just increase over time, basically. It's also interesting. Decrease a bit as well, but you can see there in front of the car we are on, with just Uwe Rosen, that's Sebastian Way. And he has 3 cars right in front of him. That's Larousse, right hand Balmana. And I'm being told it's 20% suspension damage. So yeah, probably on the front of the car, judged by the rear. And also confirmation of what I've seen, steering wheel a bit to the right. So I'd reckon probably something on the front right. Wheel being turned inwards. Let's hope that doesn't increase tire wear too much. Luckily, Norisring isn't that demanding on the tires usually, but you never know. Oh, and we have something somewhere. What happened? Roland Schmidt has a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Like, somewhere something must have happened because everything light up yellow, but couldn't see what. There's a lot of cars in between Sebastian Way and the free road. Obviously, you will also have to navigate through the traffic. And if you just get a bit lucky, Who knows? Marchena also on a pretty silent P4, let's say it like that. Just driving his race, managing his race, keeping out of trouble, and gives him P4 at the moment. With Bello as well in P5. Just keeping it out of trouble and not doing anything wrong. And you can see Sebastian Reh being behind Reiter. Diving it down the inside, Reiter obviously not defending because of blue flags. That would have cost him a bit of time. Rosen got past Larus in the meantime. Now Reiter bump drafting, that will help Sebastian Reh a bit. Not necessarily bump drafting, but being close enough for Seb to feel the vacuum effect. Which is actually very interesting stuff. Santa Rossi also lost the lost Juva in front of him, but just driving his race. Still 4.4 seconds in front of Marchena. So currently things pretty much have come down. Just now depends on the traffic what will happen. You will lost a bit of time somewhere, 4.4 seconds now. But I mean, it's the Porsche is, you can already see in this race, it's a fun race. I mean, there's a reason why there's a whole cup class with cars that are pretty similar to... Oh, and you were big hit into the wall there. That probably won't help his suspension situation, but I mean, seems to have not lost him all too much time at least. But yeah, those are great cars, and his car's crabbing a bit as well, you can see. Wait, is the rear... I need to check that. From certain perspectives, it looked like the rear right has toe out quite a lot. Like, not normal toe out, but quite a lot of toe out. Oh, it hits the wall again in the chicane. Looks a bit weird. Oh, and we've got Gaspar Misch lost control. Reiter was in collision. Oh, and that will drop Misch down a bit and also throw him right back in the fight with the Pfaff Porsches and behind the SSR Porsches. Ah, he was... No, wait. Those are both SSR Porsches who are lapped down. But now look at this. 3 wide. 2 Pfaffs on the outside. Gaspar Misch on the inside. Blocks out, I think it's Balman on the inside. Reiter was blocked on the outside. I mean, we covered pretty well. Okay, as I said, the T-Dwarfs into the wall, but still, and the Pfaff Porsches pretty busy with themselves. Weiter with the better exit possibly. And also now with the slipstream of Mish. And Mish was breaking a bit. Oh, and Weiter nearly losing it. And Yuval now having to go through the traffic of those three cars. That will lose him quite some time. I mean, going past by Mana was quite okay because he had a gap to the car in front, but with those two in front fighting it out so hard, there's not always a guaranteed gap. We already navigated the two other SSR performance Porsches. Team orders, who knows? Mish now very wide on exit. That really doesn't help Yuval in this situation. Mish braking early, also wanting to let Yuval pass. Yuval now on the inside, but being pinned to the inside by Mish, actually. Not much any of them could have done there, but it's a bit of a tricky situation for everyone here. We're being blocked out now by Weiter. Of course, these two are also racing, and are racing for P7. Yuval is trying to chase San Sebastian for P1. Oh, and Mish very red. Oh, and contact between him and Yuval on the outside. Seems like he somehow got it straight after the contact. I have no idea how. It looked like he was totally going round. This could have also ended very badly for Yuval there. Not that he could have done anything, but that was certainly something. Let's hope there's not too much damage to the cars. Maybe my spotter has some info on that. But it just looked like Gaspar, I'm learning. I'm slowly learning. Gaspar lost control on the outside, trying to accelerate out of the turn, hit the bump in the road. There's quite a significant bump, as for also the entry to turn 1. And it just caught him out and like went to the side of Yuval, which probably also saved him somehow, seeing the result, but probably also a shock moment for Yuval. And it seems like Gaspar can keep up with the pace of the two cars in front. And suddenly you also have simply just 20 minutes to go. I think this might be one of the fastest 1-hour races we ever had. I mean, to be fair, you can basically overtake in any turn on this track. There are not many turns, but you can overtake anywhere. And if I say anywhere, I mean anywhere. Also because every turn is just a setup turn for an overtake into the next one. So if you don't manage to overtake someone, you can already set up an overtake for the next turn because it's also wide. And whereas did Balmano just drive to the inside wall? I mean, it can happen on this. You have a big blind spot on the inside in many cars into that turn because it's that sharp. Porsche not as much as other cars, but still significant. But it's still Sebastian really leading the pack. Oh, and something happened. David Kulas. Very interesting line. Seems to have been wide in turn 1, but got back onto the road and did a bit of rally cross over the curbs. He will still has to clear a bit of traffic. Should be Schmidt. Bit hard to tell if it's the same livery. Yep, Schmidt because of the damage on front. And yeah, there's a lot of crabbing going on in this car. I mean, it seems to be somewhat stable still, but not great. I'm blocked out by Schmidt. Oh, and that's probably not how he managed to get past Schmidt. Probably also not how Schmidt planned on it. But what was that? We were seemingly a bit upset. Can't blame him, but the rear wheels really don't look like how they should. Usually have a bit of toe in and not, what is it? Looks like 2 to 3 degrees toe out on the rear ride. My mana close to right side again. Does he go for a move? Certainly has a look, but I can't. And oh, gets stranded on the curb. Can't do that in this car. Gaspar not close enough to do something, but wasn't far off. Oh, and Balmana overshoots big time. Now that is an invitation for Mish into turn 5. Oh, and there's somebody. It's LaRue spun in the chicane. Not the greatest spot to be stationary, but could be worse. Sweet Bellow goes through. Still silently in P5, as Makena still is in P4. And now Mish on the side of Palmana. So knocked him out of the apex and went by. It's P8 again. bit of drift there from Sebastian, but he's not using all of the track. He's not fully pushing anymore, I guess. He also doesn't really have to. He's got Kulas in front of him with a lap down, who he was actually fighting for P1 with for the first part of the race. Permission now in pursuit of room Reiter. Let's see if he can get past him and keep the position. Would be P7 then for him. Oh, and Balmana spun out on throttle. That's at least one threat less for Slovakian. Gaspar very aggressive on the turn-in. You can really see like he's... Oh, and Sebastian Rees spun out of the last turn, and Yuval Rosen actually goes by. Big drift there through the last turn. Sure, there was suspended on it, but... And that now means Yuval Rosen into the lead of the race after a mistake from Sebastian Rees. There you can see how easy it is to just lose the car. Now we have an interesting situation. Oh, and Sebastian Rees hits the inside wall. Doesn't help his suspension. But that's an interesting situation. Now you know of the suspension damage Yuval has. Both are pretty similar on pace. So slipstream will greatly affect this battle. I think Yuval is a bit more flat out, let's say. So if he can and really maximizes everything, Sebastian could probably go a tiny bit faster. Just a question if he needs to risk it. Yuval goes a bit deep, not too big of an issue if he can get a good exit, but still loses him some time. Meanwhile, Gaspar lost a bit of time to Reiter again, so not in striking distance as of now. But you can also see the difference in lines that they both take. Yuval is trying to go for a very sharp line through most turns. We've got 6 turns of which 4 are proper turns. But he's pretty much V-shaping them. Always going for the best exit, and Sebastian is going for a more round approach there. You can also see it. Much more close to the apex. Not trying to go for a double apex as Yuval does. can also see, in this case, Sebastian was way closer to the wall than you were, but usually you was super close to the wall. Seb always had some leeway. And they are now approaching traffic as well. That's Larus in the cyan portion. There's still quite a gap, but we've also got 9 minutes to go. Just 10 laps, if not more. And they are lapping round about a second faster than him. Probably more because it seems like he has some damage. The last few laps were considerably slower than his normal pace. You can also see how fast they are approaching him. So this car can be make or break for this race already. Who's that in front? Is it Schmidt? No, Schmidt is being passed by Gaspar Misch now. So that means it's Marsh? No, it's not. Ah, it's some coolest. It's the other green Porsche. Not the other green Porsche, but the other green Porsche. Good to know. Nice drift. Oh, you were a big slide there. Was Sebastian too close in quite considerably. Both super aggressive now. Now Juve obviously has a bit of help with the slipstream, but how long? How long does it help, and when will he be blocked? Or will he be blocked? Who knows? And Larus letting them both pass down the inside. Very fair, very good for the fight as well. So shout out to him. In contrast to what many people think a blue flag means, actually you don't have to pull over and basically ruin your whole race. Also depends on the series, of course, but even in F1 we are super finicky about it. It's not like that, usually. It's a 7/10 again. They're doing round about the same thing behind the rear now. So Sebastian also really started reshaping the turns, going in deeper. But right now, Juve is doing fantastic lap times, especially considering the suspension damage he has. Only 2/10 slower than his best lap. Also obviously considering the tire wear. Fuel load a lot less than at the start of the race, but I think that was Misch who just went straight in turn 1. Yeah, right. Sebastian Rossi still in P3, consistent lap times all the time. 12-second gap to Marchena now, but he's also in P4 with a considerable gap to Rebello. with MP5. All of them silent races, just went through without issues. So they can be very happy with their races. They finish as an off now. David Kulas, big drift there. He lost out quite a bit. Fought for the victory and then after a spin and another spin. P6 still, very good result for that. He's right behind one of the SSR Porsches. He's Christoph Marsch. Don't think he had many big issues there. Oh, and as we talk about David Kulas spinning out. And it's right in front of Yuval Rosen, pulls over to the side to let both cars through. It's a good thing. Doesn't really matter for his race at this point, but so I think Marsch will probably also be the last back marker we have in this race. Front of him is Larussi's in the pits now. I also can't see anyone right in front of him, but now you are getting very close. He's trying to get out of the way on the inside. That's that. And now it's clear road ahead of the two. It's a few tenths between them. But now it's a proper 1 versus 1. Can Sebastian Reh on the last 2 minute 40 catch up to Yuval Rosen? Rosen brushes the wall, doesn't seem like a big issue. Yuval now trying to weave him off, but doesn't work in this. And especially not with Sepp behind you. I think he will slowly get closer and closer. Because right now it's complete opposite. Sepp is lapping super close to his best lap times. Slight mistake, not a big issue, you can just accelerate out of the turn better. Overall lost him probably about a 10. Also slightly brushes the wall, but I mean that's racing, that's going to the limit. Doesn't lose your time, let's go do it. Fortunately lap time is invalid, but now Yuval again with a 57.92. Just for reference, Yuval's best lap in the race was a 56.86. Sebastian Reh's best lap time in the race was a 57.59. Obviously, Yuval also had a bit of help with switching and stuff throughout the race. Sebastian Reh, of course, is very much. Not in the early stages with fresh tires, as Sebastian Reh led the race. But still. Very remarkable to still lap at this level. Sebastian Reh this time with a 57.78, but you are with a 56.92. That's 6/1000 of his personal best. And timer has hit 0, that means this is the last lap. Oh, and David Cooler spun out in turn 1 yet again. Is it losing my position? Doesn't look like it. But I don't think Sebastian Reh is close enough to do anything. Just trying to show him once more, but Yuval Rosen out of the final turn. Unless there's +1 lap bridge. I don't think it is. And Yuval Rosen for the finish line. Congratulations, Yuval Rosen, the last winner of a ranked race in the Porsche 991.2. I mean, you can make a title for anything, but still, very great fight between you and Sebastian Reh. Congratulations to him as well for pole position and for just driving it. It wasn't pole position, right? It was P2. But anyway, just treat it as you want. It was a very nice fight between the two of them. Two high quality drivers. I think everyone in the race room community knows. Sebastiano Rossi, P3. Thomas Marchena, P4. And Riccardo Rebello, P5. Very good races by those three. David Coolers, probably a bit disappointed, but still P6. Good recovery. Ruben Reiter, P7. Gaspar Misch got back up to P8. Balmana, P9. Marsh, P10. And Larousse, the last of the... No, not quite. Schmidt is the last finisher in P12. And we have Zangeleif, Prigi and Shanchik, who couldn't finish the race, unfortunately. But yeah, that's it. And could have been more exciting, yeah. I mean, but we had the opening 30 minutes, which was like crazy. So, or 25 minutes. So I'm very happy with the race, to be honest. And with all that said, that was it with the 991.2 in ranked racing, not in race room, of course. It will still be drivable in different leagues, in other forms of competition. Obviously, stuff like single player, you can always drive it, but also in multiplayer competition. I'm sure many leagues will still feature it, and in general, you have opportunities to drive it, just like with many other old cars. Speaking of old cars, remember, after the Asia 100, there's another KCG event, which will be GT Legacy again, with the very old GT cars. Just some shameless plug while already here. And yeah, I don't want to drag it out all too much, so I will just thank you all for watching. Hope you had a good time. Hope you had a good time while driving, if you did so. And we will see, hear, whatever, us again. Hopefully not too far into the future. And until then, have a great time. Goodbye.